All right, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Father's Day. It is June 16th, 2024. I figured I'd do a little update and show you guys what is being rented and what is not being rented currently on Salad. Looks like this morning a bunch of mine picked up workloads, but I did have to let, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 rigs run calculating for the last couple days. So that is unfortunate, but at least they're just idling and not burning like a bunch of power. So we'll start off with a 3060 right here. We're gonna remote in. By the way, if you're remoting in and you don't have a dummy plug or a monitor plugged in, you'll notice that Chrome Remote Desktop has issues, but you cannot use RDP to remote in. It will mess up your workloads. So if we look over here, this one does have a job loaded up. So let's see, this 3060 is doing $1.88 a day, and that's on a Ryzen 5 1600. So it's a first gen Ryzen 6 core with 32 gigs of RAM and a 256 gig SSD. It's actually a Samsung SSD, M.2 SSD, and then that 3060 12 gig. So let's jump over to the next one. This is my 3090 #1 rig. This is a Xeon 12 core, 24 thread. This one's only got 48 gigs of RAM. I ended up stealing a stick of RAM out of this because I needed one to go out in one of the sales that we had. This one has a 500 gig Western Digital SSD. Yeah, there's that 12 core, 24 thread Xeon. It's actually from the web store. And then an RTX3090. Looks like it does have a job. Let's see what kind of job it is. It is a $5.79 job. That's nice because this thing was bouncing around in $2 a day jobs. So it's nice to see a over $5 a day job. Let's go to 3090 #3. I don't know why they put them out of order on here. So this one is also a Xeon 12 core, 24 thread. This one has a full 64 gigs of RAM. This one has 120 gig SSD, so a very, very small drive on this one. And then NVIDIA GeForce 3090. So let's see what kind of job it's got. Oh, and it's got a bad job, so $1.74. That is not great. Looks like the GPU is running pretty cool, 6256. It's barely being used. I wonder, let's go to PC. 27 gigs free out of 111. I don't know if my drive space has anything to do with that, but I do have some bigger drives coming in, so I will be upgrading this system. And right now, if that doesn't get better, we're gonna definitely be, we're not gonna be afraid to turn this one off and upgrade the drive for that kind of power rate. I mean, heck, that kind of revenue. This one is on a job that's making less than my 3060 for reference. But you know what? We'll just let her keep eating. Let's disconnect that one. Let's go to 3090 #2 because they were out of order. It went 132. Looks like this one's got a job. This one actually had an 8 gig DIMM go bad. It was some Team Group RAM. I do not recommend Team Group, by the way. So it's using 49 gigs. It's using a good bit. This one's also on a Xeon 12 core, 24 thread, and it is a 3090. I'm getting a phone call. Let's try to get to this real quick. This one's on a $5.25 job. All right, sorry about that. I just got off the phone. For a hard drive, it's got a 500 gig hard drive. So it leads me to believe that maybe my other 3090 system being on a 120 is holding it back. Or maybe it's just trying to finish out that cheap job before it gets onto a bigger job, or maybe a bigger one wasn't available. I don't know. I try to keep these things running as much as possible. I really try to limit restarts. You can definitely do a restart every now and then. If I'm gonna do it, I try to only do maybe 1 or 2 a day. If you go and restart your system a bunch, trying to pull in new jobs, it does lower your runtime score. I don't know what they call it on the back end, but if you have an unreliable machine, if that's what it looks like on their end, if your machine keeps restarting constantly. So just know that it could shoot you in the foot. But yeah, so let's go on to the next one. So that was 3092. Now this one's an i5 3470. This is actually my weakest CPU. This is a 4-core, 4-thread CPU. And it looks like it does not have a job. Oh man, this one was churning away on a almost $2 job for like the last couple days, and now she's back to calculating. So this is what I mean by you can use lower end stuff, and the Salad team confirmed that a 4-core will get you jobs. This computer was on a job for a hot minute, but that big but, it is less desirable compared to a 6, 8, 10, 12 core system. So I guess we'll check in back on the 4-core system and see when it finally gets a job, because that 3060 and that little i5 is currently doing nothing. And this one only has 16 gigs of system memory. So I built this one to try to prove that a 4-core 16 gig system could not get a job, and then literally it gets a job, and it hammers out a job for like the last 3 or 4 days straight. So they can get jobs. They just, you know, the lower end spec your hardware is, the lower on down the line you are. Now let's go to my shop PC. This is a Xeon 8-core 16-thread with a 256 gig SSD and a RTX 3060. It looks like this one does not have a job either. It's only using 7 gigs. Yeah, okay, so 2 of my 3060s, and this one's an 8-core 16-thread 3060. But yeah, 2 of my 3060s are not doing anything. Boo. But that's just part of it. I'm gonna let them run. Let's check on my last 3060. So this one's on a Xeon 10-core 24-thread with 32 gigs of RAM. This one's on a job. Look at that RAM usage right there. So there's the CPU. It's on a 256 gig SSD, so it looks like I at least need 256 gig, if not 500 gig. I think that 120 gigs holding that 3090 back. Let's see what this one's making. Ooh, $1.99 on that 3060. So can't complain there. That one is chugging away. So, yep, ladies and gentlemen, that is the current situation with my salad rigs. If you have any questions, you can always jump over on the Discord. We have a salad earnings channel where we talk about, show off, that kind of stuff. A lot of people have been very concerned because they've been calculating for a while. Right now, with so many people on the network, I would say it's going to be normal. If you're just coming on right now, your uptime score is going to be low. So you're going to have to just hammer out the first couple, maybe I'd say first day or two before you can get a job. Now they are talking about bringing on more jobs. They just brought on more workloads last week, and they have more workloads coming. But until they actually get the contracts, they can't talk about it. Last week was Dream Booth. Hopefully this week it'll be more stuff aimed at lower end spec, because Dream Booth was only for 4090s as of right now. But you know what? It is what it is. That's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. So ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a good one. I'll see you on the next one. We're doing a power draw video coming up tomorrow. So, yep. Later.